Hey y'all, I'm Jody Walls.
I'm Brady Brock.
And Gumtree's proud to bring to you the Cody Stubblefield pregame show.
Go Bulldogs!
Make up of the game. You come out and hit them in the mouth on the first play, we're going to be fine.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Inside New Albany High School Football. I'm here with Coach Cody Stubblefield, Mr. Paul Henry. We want to welcome you, and it's sponsored by Gumtree Mortgage.
Yeah, Coach. Last Friday night, we hosted our first home game. Came away with a big win and a good showing. Cleaned up a lot of things, and just kind of elaborate. We beat a really good Boonville Blue Devil football team.
Yeah, I think we limited mistakes this week. It's something we should have done week 1 versus Pontotoc. We came in, we played well the first half. Offensively and defensively, got some turnovers. We were +3 in the turnover battle. So not only did we clean up some mistakes of ours, we took advantage of some that Boonville made. So we're excited about the play we had Friday night. Excited about all 3 phases of the game. Our kicker did an exceptional job on punt, on kickoff, and our extra point and field goal team. We spread the ball around, had a lot of yardage on offense. The quarterback did a fantastic job, and our defense had a great night as well, flying around.
As I watched the game Friday night, comparing it to the week before, it seemed a lot cleaner. The players were crisp. It seemed like they knew what they were doing and knew where they were supposed to be, and there weren't near as many mistakes. So what were some of the things you did in practice leading up to the game that caused it to be such a clean game Friday night?
Well, to be honest, I don't know that we focus any more on those things. We try to make sure every week, week in and week out, we're limiting mistakes. We're focused on getting our feet in front and our hands where they're supposed to be to limit holding calls. We want to make sure we're focused on the offensive defensive line of scrimmage to make sure we don't do offsides. So, week 1, we kind of went into it trying to make sure we limited mistakes, and for whatever reason, we didn't get that done. So we didn't necessarily change a whole lot. Well, I think we were more focused. We lived up to our potential better week 2. So week in and week out, if we play the way we're capable, is what we always talk to our guys about. We can be a really good football team.
Sure.
I think part of that goes back to, we didn't get to normally play our scrimmage that week before.
Sure.
To kind of knock the rust off. And, you hate to say that, but we rolled in the game into week 1 there playing a good Pontotoc football team and just, had a little rust to knock off.
Well, the reality of that is regardless of the age, whether you're a professional athlete or whether you're a high school, their mistakes are going to happen. It's not something you want to do, but they do occur. I think that for sure if we'd have had an opportunity to play that jamboree, that could have potentially helped us limit some of those mistakes. But the reality is that we're good enough, we're capable enough, we're experienced enough on both sides of the ball in all 3 phases of the game to know to limit those mistakes. For whatever reason, we just didn't do that Friday against Pontotoc. Then this past week, we took care of it and played well and put all of it together.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed as I watched the game also was it seemed like the defensive front and the offensive front seemed to control the line of scrimmage a lot better against Boonville. Your offensive linemen seemed to really be able to take control of the line of scrimmage, and your defensive linemen, I noticed them slanting some, but I also noticed that when they weren't slanting, they were able to really maintain the line of scrimmage and not lose ground. So what was different there on the offensive and defensive fronts?
To be successful in football, you need to control the offense and the defensive line of scrimmage. We pride ourselves from an offensive standpoint of being very good up front, getting moving on every play. Defense is no different. On the defensive line, we're a slanting team. We want to control gaps. If we get in our gap and we win that battle, then that's a win for them individually and results in a lot of wins as a team. So we emphasize that, making sure that the offense and defensive lines of scrimmage was a priority for us, and we got it done Friday night.
I remember last week in our show last week, I think you kind of challenged your guys up front to because Boonville had a really good offensive front.
Yeah, they were big. I mean, they outsized us on both sides of the ball, I would say. We've got two sophomores that start on the defensive line that are doing a really good job. Patrick Gibbs is one of those. Montavio Sullivan is the other. So we expect those guys, as they gain experience, to get better and better. And so that's something, we're going to continue to focus on regardless of who we're playing on Friday night.
So let's talk quarter by quarter. The first quarter kind of started out slow, it seemed like. And then I noticed you started noticing we made some big plays in the passing game. What were you noticing from Boonville's defense that caused you to take some shots over the top that were successful?
Well, when you start talking about it being slow, we didn't punt until the latter part of the third quarter when we started having some subs and whatnot. But we got a turnover off the first series. Offensively, we didn't punch it in. We would have liked to have punched it in, but we ended up taking a field goal. When you run a spread offense, I think some of the keys that you're going to look at is we always want to find a way to run the football. Beyond that, we're going to start spreading people out. When they start putting too much emphasis on the passing game and they make a correction there, we want to be able to come back and make sure we can run it inside. So I think we like you said, we controlled the line of scrimmage better. We were able to run the football effectively throughout the whole game, the first quarter included. And then the big thing was we hit all of our shots. Every time we took a shot, we made a big play. Our quarterback put the ball where it was supposed to be, and our receivers did something special with it.
Right.
Well, talk to us a little bit about some of those players that made those plays. Tell us about, kind of what position they were in and what they did.
So, like I said, we started off. We got a turnover on defense. We kicked the field goal with Caleb McDonald. We tried to do some things offensively in our 20 personnel with the H-back in the game, and ended up settling for a field goal. Caleb McDonald kicked it from the left side right through and did a fantastic job, not only there but through kickoff for the entire game. We started getting in and out of Hawaii, moving people around. One thing you will see us do is Isaiah Karan is one of our guys that really does a fantastic job, and we think we did a good job moving him from the slot to running back to the wide out spot, where we make teams find where he's at. So, between a couple of shot plays that he connected on with Joe Mathis throwing the ball to him, and then we went earlier in the game. We threw just a little key screen out to Cameron Knox, and Isaiah sprung the block for him, and he slipped it and took it 70 yards. That's a 15-yard pass to the sideline right there when we're breaking a tackle and scoring on the 70-yard.
Right.
Well, when you look at those players, getting in the ball, I mean, he can just make that play and extend that play. You've also got a pretty good 1-2 punch there at your back.
Yeah, we played three different running backs last week. A.I. Nugent starting for us. C.J. Hill is right there. That is every bit as good. We're very fortunate to have both those guys, and they both of them run the ball very hard, run the ball effectively. Cody Atkinson is a little bit more of a smaller kid, but he hits the hole probably just a little bit step quicker. So we're very fortunate to have all three of those guys, and they all do a really good job for us. You saw as the game go on, I think C.J. and A.I. had roughly somewhere between 60 and 70 yards on 9 carries. Both of them had the same amount of carries. So both of them saw success. I know C.J. punched 2 touchdowns in and did a really good job there. A.I. on one of them, he had a big run and got us down there. And anytime we have a big run, we may get a guy out for a play or two just to give them a break, make sure that we stay focused and keep that ball secure. So that's what happened. A.I. got us down there on one play. We pulled him out, and C.J. scored and punched in really quick. So we're very happy with who we have in the backfield week in and week out. We want to make sure those guys stay healthy. Going back from receiver to receiver, we've got Isaiah Karan, we've got Cameron Knox. Micah Reed does a tremendous job in a lot of different areas for us. Micah is a guy that he plays our outside receiver, but last year he played slot. So anytime we need him to bump in, he can do that. He's also a holder for us on the extra field goal, extra point team. He's a safety. You saw him play a lot of safety this past week. So he's a guy. He's on other special teams as well. But he's a guy that you see all over the place. Does a really good job for us. Mason Simmons went out early with an injury. Kind of got rolled up. To our guys' credit, we rolled in Orlando Gates. He did a good job as the game went on. We moved Isaiah around probably a little bit more than we normally would because of that. And then we were able to get into some heavier sets with the H-back and tight end as well. So did a lot of different things on offense early on and throughout the game.
Yeah, and watching your backs, I can tell you as the game goes on and they start wearing on the defense, you got 2 backs that I wouldn't want to get in front of running full steam. And I saw there was one play where somebody did get in front of one of them, and I think the crowd noticed it. It was kind of a special play.
There was particularly a run. I'm not sure exactly when it was, but there was that play I talked about AI doing. He had about a 22-yard gain where he drug 4 or 5 different players down.
Absolutely.
That was the play where we got CJ in the next play, and he punched it in.
Right.
But both those guys, they're 5'9", 5'10", 225 pounds. CJ Hill is a guy that does powerlifting. He's a 350-pound bench press guy. He's a 700-pound squat guy. So CJ is extremely strong. They're both extremely big. Like I said, we're very fortunate to have them. If they can get through that first level, they're a load to bring down for anybody.
Well, as you can see, we're coming to you live from the Warehouse Steak and Fish Restaurant. After this commercial break, we're going to have Coach Trent Hammond on to talk a little defense with us. We'll be right back.
What will I find at Van Atkins? Well, diamonds. Lots and lots of diamonds. Jewelry that you will not see in any other place. Our Van Atkins collection is styled from beautiful pieces from the past with a fresh Southern update. I believe you'll find value, too. You'll also find people who are a part of this community. If you're celebrating something, we're going to celebrate, too. We really hope you'll find Van Atkins special. I'm Chuck Cooper, and I feel privileged to be a part of that.
Hey, so welcome back from the commercial break. We're here live at the Warehouse Steak and Fish Restaurant. We have Coach Trent Hammond, who's the defensive coordinator for the New Albany Bulldogs, and we want to welcome to the Bulldog family. So, Coach, tell us a little bit Friday night as you coached the game, some of the things that you saw and some adjustments that you made throughout the game.
Well, the biggest thing that we saw is that they were doing exactly what we thought going into the game. We had picked up a few things where they had tipped off of a few things, kind of like reading a poker player's hand on a few plays, and we were able to give our kids that. And the biggest thing for me is that we had a few kids that do a really good job of what you call football smart, that have either watched enough of the game or played enough of the game that they come in and they take the little things that you tell them and they come out and be able to translate that to Friday. And so we had a few kids that were able to pick up that, hey, if the back set here or if he got outside the tackle with an H-back and things, that these plays were coming. And our kids did a really good job of picking that up. And as a defensive staff, Coach Murphy, Coach Sanks, and I, we're really excited about having kids that can do that.
Well, one thing I know Coach Stubblefield elaborated on a little earlier, we won the turnover battle. Tell us a little bit of the contributing factors and the players that made those plays to make that possible last Friday night.
Well, one of the biggest things we stress about in a turnover battle on the defensive side is having more men at the point of attack than they do and running to the football. Solely speaking, that if the ball goes on the ground, if we have more guys in our jersey around the loose ball than they do, chances for us recovering that is better than them. So that's one of the things that we really push is getting people to the ball and then trying to make contact with the football when we get there.
Well, there's nothing's going to energize a team more than a turnover. You're taking that other team's chance away with the ball and putting it right back in our offensive players' hands. And we got a lot of confidence in our guys, and I know Coach Stubblefield is going to put them in the best possible situation to be successful.
Yeah, there's not much that energizes a 52-year-old defensive coach either than taking the ball away from somebody. I get excited about it. Our kids do. It's one of those changing moments of the game. And, I preach to them that there'll be 3 plays that win a football game, that you can throw all of it out. There may be 117 plays in the game, but 3 of them will decide the winner. And the big thing is, what are you going to be doing when those plays that change? And a lot of times those turnovers happen to be the 3 plays that change it.
Yeah, Coach, you have been around in a lot of different roles, a very successful head coach. Tell us kind of the adjustment as you become back to being a defensive coordinator and maybe some of the head coaching duties that you might have used to had to do that now you don't have to deal with. How has that kind of changed, even your personal life?
Well, my blood pressure's gone down a lot. It's one of the biggest things. And so my wife's real happy on that. I find myself sleeping a little bit better because my record's set and it's over. But as far as winning and losing, you still want to win. You still want to do those things that are, I think, ingrained to anybody that wants to coach. You want to, I can tell you, I want to beat you if we play checkers, and
Right.
so that part hasn't changed. For me, the day-to-day part of being a head coach. I was a head coach for almost 20 years, and just the ordering and the purchasing and the things like that, those grew tired on me. And as a head coach the last few years, I pretty much delegated that to somebody. Hey, pick out whatever we're going to wear. I don't like shopping in regular life, and I didn't like picking it out for me for Friday nights either.
Well, one thing, it just seemed like it's been a natural, easy transition for you coming into New Albany.
That's right.
And I know that goes back to kind of a role reversal, because at one point Coach Stubblefield was actually an assistant for you, right? Now you there's a role reversal now, but I can tell y'all, just seeing the camaraderie with the coaching staff and all, it just seems like it's been a natural transition for you.
Well, I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed, when Cody came to me, I felt like he was one of the best hires I had made in my time, and I hope I can be that for him. But at the same time, I've told people all along, I can be a good soldier. You just tell me what you want, and that's what I can do. And as an assistant, you just want to try to help make the road a little easier for the head coach, because I've been in that chair before, and everybody will tell you all the stuff today. I'd do this if I was a head coach, and I'd do this if I was a head coach. I'd kick that kid off, all that kind of stuff. And that's easy to say when it's not your program or when it's not your decision. And so, my thing is there just to kind of be there and say, if he asks, hey, what would you do? You say, here's what you do, but then you got to be fine with it being done another way and not yours. And so far, I've just enjoyed it. It's kind of been a natural transition. I've loved my time here.
One of the things that I often heard about you just as a coach and reputation was how much the kids just loved playing for you. They loved being around you. What are some of the things that you did that made the kids enjoy playing football and playing for you?
I don't know. I think the biggest thing you have to do is be yourself. I can't be Cody. He can't be me. I can't be and then the kids got to know that you're real. And I think I have fashioned myself as a guy that kind of is a cross between an old school, new school, a player's coach. But you kind of have to, to joke with them sometimes. But the biggest thing, and it's kind of cliche because everybody says it now, kids have to know you care before they listen to you. If you come out on day one and you're screaming and hollering, well, they're going to tune you off. My thing is they got to know that you want them to be successful. And I think that's been one of the things. And then just try to be excited. When they do something exciting, be excited for them. A lot of coaches, get into, well, you just did your job. Well, yeah, but I've seen you do it wrong 3 times. Now you did it right. I need to be excited for you.
Right.
And celebrate your accomplishment there. And I hope I do that. I hope kids have enjoyed playing for me because I've enjoyed what I do.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. And after this commercial break, we'll come back with Coach Cody Stubblefield to talk about next week's game.
Reason number 18 to bank at BNA, Professional Business Solutions. Our experienced commercial lenders understand the sophisticated needs of today's businesses. We have all the products and services needed to make your business a success. BNA Bank, the bank of Northeast Mississippi.
So welcome back. We're here with Coach Cody Stubblefield, and we're going to talk this week about who he's playing, and this week's opponent is Hernando.
Well, Coach, we kind of picked up Hernando's kind of traditionally not someone New Albany would play. Tell us a little bit about how that happened and what do they have coming into the Kitchen Field on Friday night?
Yeah, earlier today I did a radio show, and, David Goo talked about the last time we had played Hernando was 2004, so 16 years. Things have changed a little bit in DeSoto County
Absolutely.
in 16 years. So at that point, they were roughly, I believe, the same or close to the same size. Today, Hernando's a 6A school, so they're quite a bit bigger than New Albany. But the reality is we took Morville off the schedule, and so we were looking for somebody to play. We found out that they had a spot. Talked to Coach Wolf. He was willing, and it worked out. And so that's kind of how it came to be. But we're excited about getting to play as a team with 90 players across from us, and that is at that 6A level because when you do that, you call and make those decisions based on your ability, thinking you can play with them. And so I'm very confident in our guys, and I'm excited about what we're going to do tomorrow night.
Can you tell us a little bit about their team? What type of offense, what type of defense, what are some of the special players they have that y'all are going to have to be ready for? Yeah,
so they're kind of like Boonville. They're going to see some stuff that's very similar. Offensively, they're going to stay 2-by-2 and 3-by-1 in a spread offense. They throw the ball a little bit more than we do. They're typically going to be somewhere around 65 to 70% throwing the ball. So that's something that you don't see a lot of in high school football. So it's going to be a good a good test for our defensive backs and our linebackers, making sure we're in those areas that we're supposed to be in, taking care of that. It's going to be a good test for our defensive line, making sure we get some pressure on the quarterback. So, they're very talented in what they do as far as that spread offense. They've got a quarterback that's been there for a while now that not only he was a quarterback, but his brother was there when I was with Coach Hammond at Tupelo. This kid that's there now, his brother was there, and he was an extremely good quarterback. So it's in their family to be to play that position and be successful. And then to go along with that, they've got a receiver that's 6'5". I think he's about 210 and is a special player on the edge. So, we've been preaching that all week about this is an opportunity for our guys to go out there and prove that they can compete on a high level and rise to the occasion.
And on defense, what type of front will we see? More of a 4-3 with two safeties, or will we see a 3-3 stack? What are we going to see?
Boonville did a little bit of everything. Pontotoc was a 4-3 for the most part. Kind of like offensively. Defensively, Hernando is going to be in a 3-4. They're going to look a lot similar to what we do. There's some different coaching points and things that are different, whether it's coverage-wise or whether it's alignment based on where linebackers stand. But they will be in that 3-4 defense, so that's something that we see a lot based on practicing against yourself. So we're very comfortable when it comes to calling it against that, calling a game. And our guys are comfortable offensive line where those linebackers are, and receivers know where safeties and outside linebackers are. So it's something we're very familiar with. And so they're not a team that bounces all over the place. Sometimes weeks you get into where you may see multiple fronts. We expected them to be in a 3-4 for most of the time. I think Coach Wolf's thought process is there. We're going to get really good at something, which is something we try to do as well.
Sure.
Well, and one thing, it just blew me away when you said they're going to throw it 65, 70% of the time. That's not a traditional set. Most people want a balanced attack.
Absolutely.
Well, like I said earlier, I think from an offensive standpoint, we want to always be able to establish a run game. Now, once we get that going, or once we maybe loosen somebody up first, we want to come back to it. But we always want to find a way to effectively run the football. I think they're so confident in what they do and some of their skill guys and their quarterback that they're perfectly fine putting the ball on the edge a lot. They will try to run the ball, and they're very capable there as well. But out of a spread offense, you've got 5 offensive linemen, and so 1 running back most of the time. So there's limited on how many ways you can run it. And so they don't do a lot in that regard. They've got a very talented running back that is a senior that's capable. We got to make sure when they do decide to run it that we get it around him quick. And take those gaps away.
Every week we ask Coach, we say, what are the keys to winning this week? And he always says, play good defense and run the football. Wow. So this week, can be a little more specific. What are some of the things that if this happens, we'll have success, and if it doesn't, we're going to struggle?
Well, like I said, it's cliche, but the first thing I'm always going to say is we got to win the offensive line of scrimmage on the offense and defensive side of the ball. If we can do that, that opens up everything for us.
Sure.
So, big thing is, again, you always want to limit turnovers. You got to make sure you limit mistakes, missed tackles. I think if we can run the football effectively, then our offense is going to be wide open. If somebody comes in and we're limited there, well, then the other stuff kind of builds off that and can limit us. I think from a defensive standpoint, if we continue to fly around and get to the ball fast, then we're obviously going to have success. We've got to make sure we know where number 1 is, and we've got to make sure we don't get beat over the top. We limit big plays. Defense, we're flying around. If we limit the big plays and we make them earn every point they've got, then we're going to be very successful. From an offensive standpoint, if we can run the football and then spread it around and get the ball in our playmakers, we're going to have a chance to be successful also.
Thanks for joining us for the pregame show.
Hey, guys, anytime we can help you with your mortgage needs, just give Jody or I a call at Gumtree Mortgage. Thanks.
Go Dogs.